I can't say it.
I love The Florida Project. In fact, it's at least in my top 5 movies of 2017. But if I'm being totally honest, after my first viewing, I was kind of confused by this ending. In fact, I would go so far as to say I didn't even like it. But what were the reasons why I didn't like it? Because of the way these characters are presented, it was difficult to understand what exactly they were trying to convey to me. The Florida Project, in my opinion, has some of the most interestingly presented characters I have seen in a film in years. And by this, I mean that not only are the characters written well, but it becomes difficult at times to pinpoint exactly who the main character is. I would really love to talk about why The Florida Project is extremely underrated and how the characters in this film are phenomenally written and acted, as well as how The Florida Project breaks through the conventional protagonist rules, ultimately bringing it back to why the last scene in the movie is absolutely perfect. So first of all, let's go over our 3 most important characters in the film. The first is Haley, played by Bria Vinaiti, Mooney, Haley's daughter, played by Brooklyn Prince, and of course, Bobby, the owner of the Purple Place, where Haley and Mooney stay, played by Willem Dafoe. One thing to note is that for a majority of this movie, it seems as though, instead of following an obvious storyline, this film takes a different route, where it decides to show a series of events that are connected to each other, but most of the time, the scenes were edited in a way where it almost felt like each scene was just a standalone event. Now, most of the time I would usually get turned off when a movie fashions its scenes to jump around, but this movie shows you from the get-go that its focus is on the kids. The way the scenes are edited kind of reminded me of the spontaneity of children, and each scene soon combines to create a sense of catharsis at the end. This movie gives a few hints that the focus is on the kids, and more specifically, Mooney. Usually, when an adult and a child are in the same shot, the adult will either be out of focus or not completely in view. I also began to notice how real this movie is. It brings you into the world of children and actually creates authentic children that are stress-free and full of life, even though they are not living the life that a kid wants or dreams of, which makes you happy every time they are on screen. Although Mooney was a focus, I never truly felt like she was affecting the story directly as a main character usually would. During my first watch of this movie, I was under the impression that the main character of the film was Haley, because a lot of the story happens because of her. And she is in a majority of the movie, but each scene she is in just added more to the focus of the kids, and she really isn't even heavily focused on in this movie. So the next thing I want to talk about is my favorite character in this entire movie, Bobby. Although Bobby is considered a supporting character in this movie, especially going on the fact that Willem Dafoe was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this role, I felt like he was the most interesting and had the most impact on the entire film. Every scene that Bobby was in just made the character more and more interesting. And truthfully, every scene in the movie either added more to Bobby or the kids. In Bobby's first scene, he almost seems like a hermit that only cares about money. But the more you watch, you really begin to realize how much he cares for his motel guests, and how much he really does love the children, so much so that he feels the need to protect them, almost like a father. My favorite scene in the whole movie is a scene where the kids are in a playground, and an old man decides to walk up to them and start talking to them.
What's your name?
Excuse me, can I help you?
No, that's okay.
You're a guest here?
No, I'm looking for a soda machine.
I know where there's a soda machine.
No,
Just
no.
come with me.
You don't have
You want a soda, right?
Okay, thank you.
Hey, I thought you were thirsty. Good? Sure.
Hey,
All right. Charlie Coachman of Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
you can't kick me out. That's my license.
I'm gonna call your name. Into the county sheriff. Now you get the fuck out of here.
Or when CPS is about to take Mooney away, he is there before and during this and is highly involved. There are tons of other scenes that convey this, but the one that makes me love this character is this one.
Hey, girls, come on.
We're hiding. This is serious, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm working.
We need to hide. We need to hide. We need to hide. Now go. Down here. We don't care. We
Now
don't
be quiet.
care.
And watch those wires down there.
What's going on, Jancy? I got you. I got you. Move, Bobby. Excuse me.
By the end of this movie, we see Mooney, a little girl who absolutely adores her mother and can't even see her flaws. The movie's focus becomes extremely clear once a man who is paying Haley for sexual services freaks out when he walks in the bathroom seeing Mooney taking a bath, which creates an altercation between the man and Haley. Throughout this entire scene, the camera stays right on Mooney.
Oh, hey, there's a kid in here.
I told you the bathroom was off limits.
This is
Out. Pull the curtain.
a fucking kid in here.
Whatever. Out. Moon, I'll be right back, okay?
This is a very sad movie that hides behind the focus of the stress-free, blissful kids about a real child who is naturally happy and loves her mom even though she deserves so much better, and who believes that her life is how things are supposed to be. By the end of this movie, CPS is trying to take Mooney away, but Mooney escapes, running to her best friend Jancy to tell her she might not see her ever again. This scene stays away from emotionally inducing cliches, but all the weight of the entire movie comes falling down on you all at once, creating one of the saddest movie scenes that I have seen in a long time. Now here we are, back to the end scene. When I first saw this, I didn't understand the point of this type of ending. All I could think was, how is that ending supposed to make me feel satisfied? As I stated earlier, this movie has a very interesting way of focusing on characters. And once you realize that not only is most of the focus on Mooney, but the pure focus of this movie is Mooney and the life of children who deserve a much better life and live so close to the magical Disney world, yet so far. Jancy grabs Mooney's hand and runs to Disney World. The camera switches to an iPhone camera, creating a guerrilla style of filming, and for the first time since the beginning, we hear music. Music that creates a feeling of magical curiosity, showing a change in Mooney's mindset. Because the whole film is leading up to the worst day of Mooney's life. She finally gets to feel and enjoy the magical life that every child deserves. And since the Florida Project creates children that are nothing more than children, the ending becomes much more than an ending of a movie, but the beginning of Mooney's new, beautiful view of life.